Buenos dias from beautiful Barrio Huanuca in Matagalpa, Nicaragua. It is the last day of August, Sunday 31st. I'm hitting 1:15 in the afternoon here, Central Standard Time. And I hadn't spoke up for a little bit. Wanted to give you guys some quick updates. The first and foremost, the focus of this is going to be, what do you do when you feel under the weather in a country that has beautiful weather? So we haven't really discussed directly on medical service here. I've discussed about veteran access to health care and such. So this isn't veteran-centric. This applies to everybody. Some short answers. One, for many day-to-day common illnesses, you do not have to see a physician. Often the pharmacies, and they are numerous, it's a very large industry here, will carry most equivalents or same brand styles of over-the-counter medication that you would find in North America. And many of the prescription medications that you would find in the States that would require a doctor's visit prior can be obtained from the pharmacy without a prescription. Pardon me one moment. Yes. By the way, té de Jamaica, which is tea from hibiscus flower, incredible tasting, very tart and dry because I don't add sugar to it. Similar in a lot of ways to cranberry. One of my favorite drinks here. I make my own. I buy large 1-pound bags of dry flowers of hibiscus. Make my own tea here. Au naturel. So back to medical. I have chronic sinusitis, and moving to a new location will often exacerbate that between allergies and new toxic exposures, new allergens, new whatever. Moving to a new region of the world definitely exacerbates that. So it's not like moving from Illinois to Florida. My apologies. So last week there was a very strange aroma for over 2 days of burning. Couldn't find the fire, didn't see a fire. And it was very reminiscent of like burnt electrical wire. So I went and I checked all my stuff. It wasn't coming from in the apartment. It was from outside the apartment. And I'm up on the northeast end of the city, and we are in a fishbowl of a valley. So, wow. Yes, we'll get through that. So 2 days of this burnt electrical wire smell, chemical smell, it got to me. Last Friday, I had a chronic dry cough, non-productive. I've got no fever. Been tired for a while anyways. So, Saturday I was supposed to do class. Called out of class, stayed in bed all of yesterday, had food ordered in, had my water delivery done. We'll get to that. So, two 5-gallon bottles of water delivered to me for 160 Cordoba, which is under $5. 2 5-gallons delivered, under $5. 2 pizzas. So I had food here for a few days. I had 2 pizzas delivered through Chef Fella's, which I posted some videos of. If you want a traditional Italian pizza here in Matagalpa, I highly recommend Ristorante Vita e Bella. They will do a traditional flat crust Italian, as in Europa, style pizza. If you want something reminiscent of good pizza found in North America, you go to Chef Fella's. So I've had the Nika pizza. Nika has jalapeno, onion, chorizo for the sausage, chitolma, which is basically sweet pepper, and refried beans, like in a paste on it. And it's an incredible pizza. It's spicy. I've had their Hawaiian, which was good. I did their Chicago deep dish, and bless them. I come from Rockford, Illinois, 90 miles west of Chicago. This is the closest to Rosati's deep dish. Very impressed. We will get through a reorder. So last night I ordered their 4-in-1, basically 4 pizzas in one, and based on a recommendation from one of my fellow expats here, Jason Green. Shout out to Jason, the video I did last for his barbershop. So what do you got to try the Philly cheesesteak pizza? So I got a small Philly, I got the medium on the 4-in-1. I got food here for like 3 days. Normally it's an hour delivery for Chef Ella's, and then especially with the Chicago pizza, it takes almost an hour to cook it by itself. I got both those pizzas here last night in 30 minutes. So, shout out to Chef Ella. Yes. Back to medical. So, felt under the weather, decided I have chronic sinusitis rhinitis, and conflicting reports on whether anybody can tell you if it's viral or bacterial. I had 2 days of nasty exposure, and then I had symptoms, so that would be bacterial. Other people are walking around in town occasionally with masks. That's year-round here. There's always somebody that's being proactive and covering themselves. But I haven't been around anybody that I knew was sick. Excuse me. And I'm prone to chronic bronchitis, or not bronchitis anymore, but sinusitis. So self-monitor, no fever, da-da-da-da. I would normally go to the VA. They would prescribe me an antibiotic of Ceftra or Bactrim because I'm allergic to penicillin. I would probably be given a cough syrup. I can never pronounce the name of it, but it's the Guiafin one, the G-U-E, has an F-I-N, M-O-U-S-E in it. An expectorant to help you get it out of your chest. And I've had a hard time sleeping the last few nights. So I called out of class on Saturday, stayed in bed all yesterday, and today I decided what a great time to do an episode about going to the pharmacy. So I went to the pharmacy today knowing which antibiotics I'd be looking for, what cough syrup I'd be looking for, what the ingredients are, and enough information to make myself dangerous. So I had typed ahead of time on my translator, chronic sinusitis bronchitis. I'm on day 5 of symptoms after exposure to smoke in the air, and I'm allergic to the penicillin, so Bactrim, Ceftra are great alternative antibiotics for me than the traditional amoxicillin that I can't take. And the cough syrup with the guiafin whatever in it, I know is available here, and I know also doesn't require a prescription because it's been in prior feeds with our WhatsApp group. And I went to the pharmacy. I had that pre-typed out. The main pharmacy that I go to historically, I've been there like 3 times now for minor things. Their website says that they are closed. On Google, it says they're closed today. They were open. Win for me. Went in. Had already practiced my lines of the translation because I'm trying to learn the language and assimilate. And I went in and I said what I needed to say, and then I showed her the screen, and she went through it, and we were able to communicate again. Still, my lack of Spanish is on me. And she came back with, this will be the cough syrup in question, and I will work through these names in a moment. And this will be the other medication, and asked me how many of these I needed, and I assumed I'm taking twice a day. So this is not an actual antibiotic, mind you. I was not issued an antibiotic, even though the antibiotics themselves would not require a doctor's visit or a prescription. What I was offered was 2 different varieties of medication to assist with the breathing, anti-expectorant. So this first medication, the diphenhydramine, 50 milligram, I have a total of 10 tablets, so that's 5 days worth. And I looked that one up online, and I'm not going to bore you with the details because, a reminder, disclaimer, I'm not playing doctor. That's something you do as a kid. I'm not practicing medicine without a license or advising people medically. I'm explaining what I've done for myself in my situation. So this is not medical advice, but it is information on how to obtain the first tier of medical assistance while in Nicaragua that, again, does not require a trip to the doctor. I'm not opposed to going to the doctor, but because I do this so often, there really is, if I can get the medication without seeing the doctor, I am freeing up the doctor's time to see people that are more in greater need than I am. And these don't require a prescription here. So I've got a 5-day supply of this medication, which is basically to assist with the breathing. And then the actual cough syrup, which has 2 ingredients, ambroxol and a clenbuterol. So you heard buterol. So for anybody that has respiratory issues albuterol, things like that. This is similar but different. So this is to open the airwaves, to break up the, to be an expectorant, to break up any congestion in the lungs and in the sinus pathways. And I've got enough to make myself dangerous in a good way. So I was in and out of the pharmacy, which, by the way, the pharmacy name, shout out, shameless promotions here. The pharmacy name is Pharma Value. Again, pharmacies, there's 1,001 pharmacies here, all with different levels of inventory and experience. This one actually has closed off doors, has air conditioning inside, has a staff of 3 to 4 people helping. You literally have corners what would look like almost like a newspaper stand that are legitimate pharmacies. They have prescription drugs, they have non-prescription drugs. What you don't find is the health aid section in a grocery store here, and our city doesn't have a Walmart. You have to go to Managua for that. So you're not going to find an aisle at the grocery store with all the over-the-counter medications, as well as at a pharmacy, as well as at a multi-purpose store like Walmart. You go to all the pharmacies for all the stuff. So you don't see the health stuff in the beauty aid section of the grocery store. So Pharma Value, been to 2-3 times, haven't had a bad experience with them yet. When I was having problems with the feet and getting blisters, it's where I went to get the Band-Aids. And of course, they're not Band-Aid brand. They are bandages, very similar to the name brand Band-Aid. But they wanted to know how many individual Band-Aids I wanted to buy. They didn't have a concept that I wanted to buy a whole box. So they had to take them out of the box and count them and charge me individually, which I thought was kind of humorous. So it's a different culture. They're not used to people stocking up on huge amounts of medication and things. That's why I was asked, instead of being given like a 10-day script, she opened the box and asked me how many of these I wanted. And again, my understanding would be, since this is not the antibiotic that you would probably only be on for 5 to 7 days, this is a different way to attack the problem, like the cough syrup, that I'm going to be on this for approximately 5 to 7 days. So 5-day supply of that, big bottle of cough syrup. How much did all of this cost? Well, my 10 minutes at the pharmacy without seeing a doctor cost me 182 Cordoba 70 cents. That would also be known as 182 with 60 centavos Cordoba. That comes out to just under $5 US. Now, without talking insurance and with insurance plans, I am fairly familiar that if I had to pay for this equivalent cough syrup in the States, the bottle at the grocery store is about $15 US. I have no prior experience with this medication. My assumption is for 10 tablets of anything was probably would be about $8 to $10 US. And here I paid about $5 for my visit, did not have to see a doctor, didn't have to wait in line to see a doctor, didn't have to wait to get the prescription, didn't have to go to the pharmacy, wait to have the prescription filled, in and out of the shop in less than 15 minutes with really great people. So, base level healthcare. If you know your illness, you have minor scrape and you need a topical antibiotic, guess what? Neosporin is not sold at the grocery store. We don't have a Walmart here. You go to one of literally probably 80 pharmacies, little tiny shop to larger shops in town, and you would pick up your topical ointment, and it'll cost next to nothing. The medication here has been very inexpensive. Obviously, my one rheumatoid med wasn't. That's why I go back to the States for it still. But very pleasant experience. Looking forward to getting this done and over with because it's a reoccurring issue. I will be exploring possible sinus surgery in country. I'm very interested in doing the ballooning, which opens up the airways. This thing has been broken over a dozen times in life, and I've had snoring problems. You can ask my exes. One of the reasons they're exes. You can, I can remember snoring for a very long time, but ever since I was in Fort Lewis, Washington in the early 90s, where what was twice a year seasonal allergies became year-long allergies, I'm now service connected for it. If I do any kind of formal surgery in the States, one, I have to fly back. I have to wait to be seen by my general practitioner to refer me back out either to the allergist or to an ENT, which is not at my local facility in Cape Coral, but is up in St. Petersburg at Bay Pines. I did have an ENT that did my vocal fold surgery when I had to have part of my left vocal fold lasered off. And a shout out to Dr. Allen for that. He was great, and I had the best possible recuperation from that surgery all of 13 years ago. But a lot of time waiting, and more than likely I would be looking at a couple weeks recuperation stateside to do anything formal. And because it is your sinuses and it's your air pressure in your ears, I wouldn't be able to fly immediately. The ballooning procedure under the rhinoplasty is an in-office procedure, light sedation, may even be topical, but they put little tiny balloons in and they make them expand to break little bitty tiny bones, and your recovery time's less than a week. So I'm hoping that may be an option for me in the future. Allergy shots, I might have to do allergy shots here. So what I did not know prior to getting to Matagalpa, and I wouldn't know until I got here and spent some time, is the city itself is very urban. It does not have a lot of green space, which you would think, well, if it's got a lot of grass and trees, that's your pollens and allergens. Well, yes and no. Those are also air filters. Living plants filter the air. So what we do have is a lot of concrete, which means we have a lot of dust. And in the dry season, it's prominent. Luckily, we are in what's called winter here. Winter means rain and summer means dry. So while we are in what most North Americans consider to be summer, it is technically winter here. Yes, we're farther south. Yes, it's warmer. I'm closer to the equator, but it's referred to as winter here because of the rainy season. Now, there's a long dry and there's a long wet. In between, there is a short dry and a short wet. We are coming out of the short dry. So think of what North Americans refer to as Indian summer, when fall hit and then all of a sudden it got a little warmer for a little while. Here, it'll have started the rainy season where you get consistent rain daily. And then for 2-3 weeks, it dries up a little bit and it gets warmer before it goes back into the fuller amount of the rainy season. Even being from Southwest Florida, I can say that there is no rhyme to reason to the rain. We were joking last night on the WhatsApp chat group for the expats that none of the weather apps are reliable here. One person's understanding was, well, that's because all that information only comes out of the one commercial airport here in Managua. And I've tried them all. So the Weather Channel app was horrible. The Apple weather app was more accurate about Nicaragua until I got to Nicaragua. I can be in the middle of a torrential downpour that's been going on for 90 minutes. I'll look down at the Apple app and it'll say, oh, it's partly cloudy with a 5% chance of rain today. And we'll get 6 hours of rain that day. WeatherBug wasn't any better. All of them are flawed. Depending on where you are, if you're along the Pacific coast, you can expect most of your wind to come off the shoreline from the west to the east. If you're up here in the mountains, most of the country, most of our winds come out of the north by northeast. They come in over the jungle in Honduras and over in the North Autonomous Zone of Nicaragua, comes across the mountains here. So I'm up on the northeast end of the city. Most of our wind comes out of the north by northeast. So I'm getting the front end of it. That's why when I was trying to figure out where all this chemical burning smell was coming from, it had to be, I'm only a quarter mile before the edge of the city, and that's already up on a mountain ridge. This had to be something burning from the other side of the ridge. Uncertain, doesn't really matter now. I do notice the fumigation. I haven't been able to catch the fumigation truly on film, but when they fumigate for mosquitoes, and they do so methodically to prevent there being a airborne health concern from the mosquitoes, They are very proactive with the fumigation of mosquitoes. And there's been a lot of conversation that the fumigation is diesel-based because diesel is the most affordable petroleum base to use here. Many of your insecticides for mosquitoes in the States would be of some kind of petroleum base. So it's just a different, more prevalent one. I get a little reactive to it, so I close up the windows I can. Regardless of closing up the windows I have, there will still be some of that aroma that comes through the apartment, which helps with the mosquitoes. When that's not enough, hold that thought. Oh yeah, nice little $25 investment that I made online through Amazon. And I've got an inside bug zapper. And yeah, this was worth every penny. I leave this on at night while I'm sleeping. I have my bedroom window, or I'm sorry, the bedroom door closed to the main part of the apartment just to keep light out because there's ambient light. And I'm a big fan of total darkness for sleeping. And I'll hear that thing zap in the middle of the night. And it's funny because, you can be sitting here doing something, all of a sudden, zap! And I remind myself that I got my money's worth out of that guy. So I have not had a big issue with mosquitoes here. Also, I may be from Florida, not from Texas, but the mosquitoes in Florida are about 5 to 6 times the size of the mosquitoes here. The mosquitoes here are very small. They're almost hard to see. Not as small as a no-see-um or a gnat or a midge. But they are very small, and I kind of joked to myself, well, that's why they didn't bite me when I came here the first time and I stayed at Selva Negra. In the rain season, where they're prevalent, I didn't have a problem. Everybody else was getting bit, but I was the new meat, and I guess the mosquitoes didn't know what to think of me. I have had a couple bites, and I mean like maybe 5 or 6 in the now almost 7 months I've been in country. So I give a shout out, kudos to the proactive tactics the government uses here in combating mosquitoes, because again, we are in the tropics. There are risks that are mosquito borne. We do not have the yellow fever risk here, but if you go south of the border, you go into yellow fever risk. Most of South America has a yellow fever risk. There is a potential risk in parts of Panama. So I haven't traveled any of those. I haven't been worried about it. You will see greater mosquitoes if you go to the east side of Nicaragua, which is more remote. But there's dengue fever and a couple other ones, the Zika and all that. So those are things that are of a risk. They're smaller risks. And one, again, because the government has proactively went after and fumigated. They offer a free service. They come around the town and they go up and down streets with big foggers, looks like leaf blowers. And I'll see a plume of the fumigation smoke 30, 40 feet in the air. I'm on the 2nd floor, and I'll see a cloud go above our rooftop. And it's a thick material. It's a thick smoke. But it's effective. I don't know of anybody getting ill from mosquito-borne illnesses here, and that's because they know what they're doing. Different than in Florida. In Florida, we had helicopters that flew by and did spraying, and I lived in a rural area. So most often you'd see them coming down in, and I bet technically where I was living is drained freshwater marsh. So most of the mosquitoes in my area were breeding near my home. And we didn't have the worst of them because there wasn't a lot of live animals for them to feed off of. But I was in the area where most of them would be breeding and then bothering the rest of the community. So the sprayers would come in, the helicopters would come in low at sunset, and I'd hear the helicopters going off again. Prior service military, I love the sound of a helicopter. It's one of the most soothing sounds I've ever heard in my life, because it normally means a good thing for U.S. troops. Either they're coming to evac you or they're coming in to take in the adversary. But either way, I love riding on a helicopter. I love the sound of a helicopter. So I hear the helicopter far out, and it was time to get the pets inside, get the windows closed if they were open, get the doors closed, the garage door closed, because these guys are going to come in and because I knew some of the guys on mosquito control. I'd go out and put my flag out. If the flag's out, you come in low. And these guys would literally come in and spray 100 feet off the roof. And we had mosquitoes a lot less than other people in the region. But I don't have to worry about a helicopter, which you're not going to see here. They go by foot up and down the streets. They will knock on your door and ask you if you want treatment in the home. They will come through. They will fog your house. Many people do. Some do not. It's a personal preference. I would not myself be. I'm not. I don't think I really want it all smoked through in my house unless I had time to prepare and cover things and be able to wash a lot of stuff afterwards. But again, I haven't had a big issue. A little $25 bug light and the community's public services has prevented me from getting the dengue fever, which knocks most people down for about a week. Other updates, want to shout out, again, I'm not getting any promotional support, I'm not getting any freebies, but the Warlord Beard Oil Company, I told the company I'd sent Scott one of these hats. I got mine. It's the oil I use on my beard, and I'm a sucker after being a tobacconist for over a decade of the Southern tobacco. So love the hat. It says, you know, be the beard, Warlord, kind of be no do. And some other updates in the area. So the crazy musical instrument that you guys saw the video of before, the Soma Laboratories Flux. Why do I not have it set up right now? Well, I bought all the accessories for it, which were great. One of which is a flat platform that you can mount on a PA or a speaker stand. And then you can put it on there flat, and it's its own stand. Well, the instrument is made in Europe, and Europe uses different size fittings for things. So I needed an attachment that goes from a 3/4 inch down to a 1/2 inch, but metric. And the when you do that, that's fine and dandy. However, the hole in the bottom pan is smaller than that. So I found the thin one that goes in it. I had to go online. I looked locally, and the one music store in all of Matagalpa is 7 blocks to my north, who I've visited a couple times now. Since they are the only one in my city, I always try to go to them first. I try to shop local when I can. And they did not have the adapters I needed for the speaker stand that I bought. I bought the speaker stand based on the recommendation from the company, and it doesn't fit the adapter plate that they send you. So I finally ordered on Amazon. I had my sister send it to me. She got it at her house. She mails it UPS over to the Envios Fast Track location in Florida, and it got sent down here, and I got it delivered, and then found out that the adapters, which was the proper size adapter, sits too high in the bottom of the plate, and if you try to put the instrument on it, it's not sitting flat. So what I actually needed was basically a threaded washer. Now these are similar. They're actually components you would see like on a microphone stand, on a camera stand, and I finally found the threaded washer I need that will sit flush in the bottom of the plate. Ordered it. It will hopefully arrive in country on Monday, and thereafter, once I get it picked up, I should be able to finally put the Flux in permanent rotation in the corner. So what I do have over there at the moment, you will see what's covered up is my current keyboard. I have another one of those drop covers for the Flux. We do get a lot of dust. The windows to the north and to the south do not have glass. That is the passive airflow. So I still get dust in the apartment, which is actually not a bad thing because that's the reminder that you need to clean your place. So I've been a dedicated, medicated bachelor most of my life. I have to clean my own place, and I know how to do so. Here I need to do the floors and the surfaces twice a week. Also, again, to eliminate, to reduce allergies so I don't wind up with these chronic sinusitis issues. I have got some other musical gear coming in the future. I now have to make some room for it. I do have about 2/3 of the music gear still in storage in Florida, where I hope to start sending some of that by piecemeal through Envios Fast Track. My big dilemma right now is I have a 200-pound ATA rack with all of my processor effects for recording and a 16-channel mixer. That will be expensive to ship in any way possible. So at $3 a pound by boat, a lot of high-end electronics would cost me over $600 to mail that way, and I'm really not keen on putting that on a boat for 3 weeks. By airmail at $7.50 a pound, I'm spending almost $1,500 to put it on a plane. Now, the ADA racks are literally designed for air travel. That's part of the name. So it's one of those, like you see in the videos of the band, twist locking and unlocking all the components. I've got one of those with a bunch of my recording equipment. So this is all stuff for the future studio. I did get a couple people interested in exactly when I'll get that studio open. I need to buy property, build on property before I can build the studio. I have most of the components for a minimalist studio already in hand. I just started going through my list of synthesizers, microphones. Amps are too heavy to ship here. I will be visiting. There's like a Walmart of music gear in Managua. I don't have the name readily available right now, but it's a giant store. I will be ordering most amps through them because, again, shipping by weight. I have a Roland 330. Well, it's well over 50 pounds. So, again, a $600 amp's going to cost you well over $300 to ship. So I'll be trying to buy my amps in the future locally. Microphones I can order online, and they don't weigh a lot. And not even considering the tariff information of things going on, because that's all in flux. So that's the music gear. Computer-wise, I had one 4 terabyte SSD drive that's old that I had all my eggs in one basket. I found some new accessories for that, so I found a bunch of new 4 terabyte SSD cards from Samsung and some brand new enclosures by Acasis, which it'll handle up to 80 megabytes per speed transfer. So proactively, I started divide and conquer. I've got one of those 4 terabytes dedicated just to music catalog and video catalog, movies and television shows. I've got another one of those 4 terabytes in the high-speed format set over to the side for video and photos. I have what was new a year ago, going actually on to 2 years old, a fairly fast 40 gig per second transfer rate of a 4 terabyte that is currently being used for my time capsule backup drive. And then the old, going on 5-year-old, it's got to be at least 5 years old. The 4 terabyte I originally had is now just sitting on documents. So, because how fast you need to upload small PDFs, even if it's a large PDF, that transfer speed's not going to matter. Video compression, transfer speed matters. High-speed transfer speed to watch movies, like in 4K, that matters. Documents, not so much. I've got one more coming that's going to be dedicated just to music creation files. And I also did a crowdfund on Kickstarter for a new hub for the Mac Mini. It looks like a mini ancient Apple II. Has a small screen on it. And I've got an 8 terabyte SSD coming for it. I won't see that until October, so we're 2 months out before I'll be able to do a video on the new toy coming there. And by that time in October, I'll have a couple more synthesizers in-house. I was able to order 3 Moog Moog synthesizers, and one of their racks. I found a great deal on those through Sweetwater. Shout out to Sweetwater. Again, not getting any freebies from anybody, no paid advertising, but I like to promote the companies that have done me well. Other than that, I think we covered it. We covered good pizza. The water delivery. There is my water tower. You've seen the coffee tower. But yeah, I get water inexpensively delivered. There was a tangent on our YouTube, our Facebook. Try it again. On our WhatsApp channels about water quality. So bottom line is, city water, safe to drink. City water doesn't taste good. Most Nicas, most tourists, pretty much most people here elect for a bottled water delivery service because it's so inexpensive. Understanding people have concerns about the plastic bottles. I will say that going through 2 5-gallon bottles every 3 weeks is far less plastic exposure than dealing with 16-ounce plastic bottles in the States. So it's still less plastic being dealt with. The day I own my own home, I'll have an in-home filtration system, just like I'll have instant hot water on taps. The only hot water I have in the apartment is the shower because of the suicide shower attachment. The sink does not have hot water, so something new to learn for myself is washing dishes in one small sink that does not have hot water. That's a new one for me. But yeah, you learn to adjust. The day I ever have a large house and have a dishwasher and somebody cooking and cleaning, we'll have that direct inline hot water unit added to a dishwasher, as well as the sink, as for each shower. And then you suddenly realize, do I really need hot water in the bathroom sink? Not really. If you have hot water in the kitchen sink and you got a hot shower, I don't wash clothes in hot water. Well, we don't have hot water for the washing machine. That's fine. And I'm not wasting electricity on a dryer right now because I line dry. In the future, when I have my own place, yeah, I'll have a backup dryer for those days when it's raining so much that you can't get the clothes dry on a clothesline. But in the meantime, life is good. I've been stocking up on foods. I've been making a batch of Gallo Pinto here about twice a month to last me about a week each time. This last one, because I was feeling under the weather, I changed it up a little bit. Instead of using rice, I went with white quinoa, and I used a soup base. So powdered soups are big here. Instant soups are big here. You don't see a lot of canned soup. So there is a sopa de res with little tiny instant noodles in it. Think Mrs. Grass chicken soup, but this is beef. I use that as a soup base, and instead of water, I put it in with the bean broth. So I'd already cooked up a batch of red beans. I keep the broth itself because it's very nutritious and it's flavorful. And I put I pitched the packet in with the beans. Let that savor up some. Threw a bunch of garlic in it. Garlic's good for you. What else did I throw in at the time? I didn't go crazy on this one. I do have some new hot sauces that are all locally made. And I fried a couple tortillas on the side and chopped up a little bit of queso and had a really good, nutritious bean soup. It was very thick when you added the quinoa, but it was also very healthy. Technically speaking, it was veggie all the way up until the beef broth. And again, the beef broth is from a powder, so I'd say it was about 90% vegan, 10% flavor. And the hot sauces. So I've been really hooked on an habanero chocolate, and now I just discovered an habanero carrot, and that's the hottest one I found in country so far. It is flavorful. I've had Tabasco on carrots. I never considered habanero sauce made with carrots. Try it, you'll like it. And that's my update for now. I hope all of you are doing well. I'm going to bust into my cough syrup and my pills here. I'm hoping to have class tomorrow since I missed out on Saturday. I am literally going to start studying as soon as I get this video updated. So shout out to Hazel, my tutor. Yes, I am studying. I studied yesterday in bed. I'm studying today. And hopefully my Espanol will be a little greater than the day prior, because the mantra right now is poco y poco, which is little by little, in tiempo, in time. But it would be nice to be able to have full-blown conversation to understand what people are saying. I do really good with the reading. I do less with the quick speak, but again, in time. With that, I wish you all well. If you're enjoying the videos, like I said, I haven't published one in a little bit, but I also don't publish videos for the sake of publishing. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe, share with a friend. We're at 104 subscribers, so thank all of you for that. If you have requests, I had requests about the flux, that's why I brought it up, why haven't I been doing more videos for it. I've had requests for the walking videos. I've had a lot of pain in my feet. That's starting to get a little better. I'm not going to bore you with the details. I will do more walking videos in the future. It is one of my intents, because walking is one of my primary healthcare issues I can do to alleviate gordo. But yes, I wish you all well, and with that, adios.